What's up, everybody, and welcome to Teen Life Group for today. Hope that you guys have enjoyed our study in Proverbs chapter 18. We'll be in verse number 15 today, and the title of our lesson is The Antiques Roadshow. You may not know what this is, but I'll be explaining that to you a little bit later today. You just have to pardon me, I'm here at the beach. We have been got back from the beach. Actually, it's beautiful out there, and so we're going to have some Teen Life Group right here. And so I'm looking forward to being with you guys today. Sorry, I forgot. Let's open in prayer, and then we will start in verse number 14. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for the time we have to spend in your word today. I pray that you would give us a good time as we look at this proverb, that you would help us to see our need of you and just our dependence on you. And so I pray that you would just give us a good time today, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, guys, I'm going to just kind of jump right into it here. We are in verse number 15, and I'll get my technology to work for me here. Let's read the verse, and then we will we'll kind of talk through this today. So again, this is a pretty easy proverb, but there's really the heart of this proverb is what I want to get to. And so there are 3 points today. The first two we're going to move rather quickly through, and then we really want to hone in on that third one just so you kind of know where I'm headed. But let's look at verse number 15. The mind of the prudent acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Okay, so again, today we're going to talk about the Antiques Roadshow. And for those of you who do not know what the Antiques Roadshow is, let me explain it to you real quick. This is a show that has been on for several years, decades, and people will find antique treasures. They will find them at antique shows, or they will inherit them from a family relative or something like that. Anyway, they've got these items, and they want to see how much these items are worth. So the Antiques Roadshow will come to town, and they'll bring these items to the people that work for them, and they'll look at it, and they'll kind of tell like a little bit about the item, and then they will say, this is how much it's worth. And they will say, hey, this item is worth $100, or sometimes this item is worth $100,000. And so people really get excited about how much some of their stuff is. Some of their junk that they thought was just junk, they find out it's worth a fortune. Or they think it's worth a lot, and it's not really worth that much at all. It's like a fake or something like that. So it's a fun show to watch. But anyway, I was thinking about that show as I was studying this. And because our 3 points today, we're going to see the item that we need to be going after. We're going to see the possession of that item, and then the owner of that item. So let's jump right in. Look back at our verse. The mind of the prudent acquires knowledge. The ear of the wise seeks knowledge. First thing is that those two lines are pretty much saying the same thing. Okay, you've got the mind of the prudent, you've got the ear of the wise. The prudent acquires knowledge, and the wise seeks knowledge. So the first thing we want to talk about is the item. Okay, which is knowledge. This is a very easy word. Okay, it's not. It's a very common word that you'll find all throughout the Bible, all throughout the Hebrew Bible. And it's the general word for knowledge. It has the idea of perception. You'll see it on the screen. Perception, understanding, or skill. And the weird thing about this, though, is that it repeats this word. Usually when you read poetry, Hebrew poetry in particular, or even English poetry, you would expect a different word there. You know, your mind may expect something like, the mind of the prudent acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks understanding. Maybe a synonym, but not really the same word. And it kind of reads a little funny. And I think it's a little weird. I think that Solomon, when he's writing these, I don't think that is the main point of what the item is, which may sound a little funny. It's just that he is going, it's just kind of a plain Jane type of word. But that nonetheless doesn't mean something we don't need, okay? This idea of just general understanding and knowledge about the world and about God is extremely important. And these are things that the prudent and the wise go after, okay? So the item Pretty simple. You need to get knowledge. You need to understand what the world is like around you, and you need to understand your God who made it. Okay. So secondly is the possession. Okay. So it's one thing for the treasure hunter to go out and try to find this item, but sometimes, what they're looking for at these antique shows, they're looking for something that is very valuable that they can get a good deal on, right? They want something that may be on the shelf for like $20, and they're going to go try to sell it for $100, okay? Because they know that it has more value than the store thinks, something like that. So they really want to get these items. They want to buy them, and that's exactly what this is talking about. Let's start in the second line of the proverb. It says, "And the ear of the wise seeks knowledge." So there's two things here. Knowledge, first of all, is sought after. Okay, the word to seek, which is what is used here in our translation, is that, this is to seek for something, to search for something, but it has the intent of finding it and securing it. It's not like sometimes my wife will go shopping, and sometimes she just wants to browse. She just wants to see what's on the shelves. She just wants to kind of look through things. She's not really looking for anything in particular. And I do the same thing, right? I'll go to the hunting store, Cabela's or Dick's Sporting Goods or something, and I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm just browsing the aisles, right? Browsing the shelves. That is not what this word is. This word is, okay, I am looking for this item. I'm going to the store. I know where it's at. I'm going to get it. It's kind of like grocery shopping, right? When I go to the grocery store, I got a grocery list. I'm like, okay, the bread. I go straight to the bread aisle, get the bread. I'm not, I'm not browsing for things. That's what this word is that the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. It searches for it. It looks for it, and it's trying to find it. Okay, it's very intent on finding that and getting it. Okay, so the first thing about possessing this knowledge is that it is sought after. And then number two is that it is acquired. And these go hand in hand. Again, these two lines are saying the same thing. Look at the first line. The mind of the prudent acquires knowledge. Okay, so to acquire, it means to get it. It means to buy it. It means to possess it. You go and you purchase it. And so this type of person is seeking to find something, and they are anxious to get it. Okay, and that's kind of the point of this, which is getting us closer to this third point, which is really where I want to hone in. Okay, actually, let's go ahead and go there. Number 3 is this: the owner. Okay, so the item is knowledge. You need knowledge. You need to enjoy receiving knowledge. You need to be hungry to get more knowledge. Okay, this is an attitude I wish I had when I was in school, when I was a teenager. For those of you who are teenagers watching this, I know you don't want to go back to school. You would rather be maybe at the beach. Okay, it's right out there. And but having this attitude of wanting to increase knowledge is so important. And here's why. Let's look at the rest of this proverb. The owner, first of all, they are wise. Okay, so look again at the second line. Let's start at the end of it. The ear of the wise seeks knowledge. So what does a wise person do? They seek after knowledge. The thing is this, is that wise people, they are wise because they possess knowledge already. So they are already in possession of this knowledge. And what this is, I think this is kind of advancing the idea that a wise person is always anxious. They're always wanting. They're always hungry to increase in that knowledge. They're not satisfied with where they're at. And neither should you be. Okay, if you're going to be a wise person, you've got to seek to increase that knowledge. And that's kind of the way it is, right? I mean, you're never going to know everything. Okay, and the more that you know, the more you realize you don't know. Just a fraction of what is out there to know. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything. And that's a wise person. What are they doing? They're gaining knowledge. And they want more. That's the way you need to be. Okay? And what kind of goes hand in hand with this is that you have to be wise to become wise. You think about that? Because if you're going to be someone who goes after and seeks after knowledge, you have to be wise in that. Okay, so you have to already be wise to be able to make that decision. So this is not talking about a fool. It doesn't say that a fool seeks knowledge. No, a wise person does. So you got to be wise in order to continue to be wise. And I think the point is this, and this is the heart of this proverb, is that you need to depend on the Lord for wisdom. Okay, at the end of the day, wisdom comes from God. At the end of the day, He is the one that gives you that desire to want more knowledge. He's the one that gives you that desire to want to increase in wisdom. He's the one that wants to give you the desire and even the personality, let's just call it like that, to seek after these types of things. A fool does not do this. Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to beg God to make you wise. Why? So that you can increase in that wisdom, right? What does the book of James say? If any man lacks wisdom, what should he do? He needs to ask God. And I think that that's kind of where this is lining up with this. Now, it goes a little deeper than that, too. Look at the first part, the mind of the prudent. Okay, so let's talk about the prudent person for just a second. They are wise. They are prudent. Prudence, when it's used here, it means to be able to distinguish. So you're able to discern things. You're able to, therefore, understand. You have intelligence. You're able to know things. So a prudent person is a discerning person. They can distinguish right and wrong, wise and foolish decisions. They really have the power of judgment and of insight. And where do those things come from? Right? Do those things just come from, is that something you can grow in? Yeah. But ultimately, people that can discern things and judge rightly and have good insight, those are natural qualities that God gives people. You want to ask God to make you insightful. God, would you help me to make the right judgment call? Help me to be discerning. Help me to be prudent. And it goes a little more than that too. Is that a prudent person, they know how to value knowledge. They know how to value its worth. They know how to value its usefulness. And they know how to use knowledge. Okay, it's one thing for you to have knowledge, but if you don't know how to use that knowledge, then what good is that for you? I mean, okay, this illustration may break down a little bit, but you guys, as you advance in high school and college math classes, you get like better and better calculators, right? I remember when I was in some high school classes in high school, some math classes in high school. I don't know if I said that right or not. Is that as I got on into like advanced math and some different things, we got really cool calculators to use. I mean, we had like, it could graph, it could do all kind of cool things. And you can have that calculator, but if you don't know how to use it, it does you zero good. And part of what we had to do was learn how to use that thing so that we could then solve things and figure things out. So a prudent person, they value knowledge because they know how to use it. They know how useful it is for them. So the owner of this possession, of this item, that's what we're talking about. This is a person who is dependent on God for these things. And then as God gives them the ability, the mental faculties and just a discerning spirit, a hunger for knowledge, a hunger for God, what is that? Then you're able to grow in that. You're able to become wiser. You're able to become more prudent. You're able to increase in knowledge. And so, I mean, really, that's kind of what we're talking about here, right? The item is knowledge. You should always be seeking to increase in that. And which goes right along with what we said, number 2, is the possession of that. A wise, prudent person is never satisfied with where they're at. What does it say? The mind of the prudent. The word mind is the word heart. Okay, the center of our desires, our emotions, our will. The mind of a prudent person acquires knowledge. When knowledge is out there to be gotten, they go for it. They want more of it because they realize how valuable it is. Look what it says, the ear of the wise. When a wise person hears knowledge, they're hungry for more of that. That's the attitude that we ought to have. And to not do that is foolish. And that makes us a fool. We don't need to be that way. But we can't be this way unless we're already wise and prudent. So again, we got to depend on God. We got to ask God to help us be this way. So an item is knowledge. The possession of that is acquiring it, seeking after, going for it, and then we need to be owners of that. We need to beg God, and we need to be dependent on Him to help us. So hey, you guys are getting ready to start school? You ought to make this proverb your verse for the school year. Hey, the mind of the prudent acquires knowledge. I need to be diligent. I need to go after it. The ear of the wise. Hey, when your teacher's teaching, maybe this is what you need, okay? The ear of the wise seeks knowledge. I want more of that. I want to understand this concept. I want to get this. Why? Because that's what a wise, prudent person does. So, hey, let's please the Lord. Let's be dependent on the Lord. And let's not be fools. You guys have a good day. I'll see you next time. I'm going to the beach.